Tasha Fox competed on the 28th season of Cagayan, where she finished in 6th place. A strong player during the season where she formed bonds that got her deep in the game and managed to go on an immunity streak easily to make the jury. Her streak couldn't last as long as she would like, and she was voted out of the game. I spoke to Tasha about her dominant time on Cagayan and how close she feels like she came to winning the game, what it feels like to potentially be coming back so soon after her first time on the show, as well as what the fans can expect from her should she return, and just why she voted for Wu to win the game over Tony. Tasha, welcome to Survivor Oz.
Thank you so much for having me this bright and early morning.
Yes, very bright and early for you, and we appreciate you sort of getting up and about and doing this chat, because I can imagine right now things are pretty hectic for you as you're really out there campaigning, trying to get on the show again.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so much, but honestly, I'm having a great time. I don't know if you know, but I was up for Miss Survivor, so I'm in campaign mode anyway. So this is a lot of fun, and I think it's awesome that Survivor is opening it up to the fans and letting the fans decide. So this is great.
And it's sort of something that a lot of people out there knew about, and it was sort of only confirmed a week ago. So how was it sort of trying to keep it a bit of a secret and waiting for this to be official before you could actually talk about it again?
I know, it is so tough because you want to just go to Twitter and go to Facebook and let all your fans know, hey, this is coming, and you're so excited because you know they're going to be pumped and supportive, but you can't. You just have to keep it a secret. But then, you know, the stories leak sometimes, so you see it out there and you see these speculations and people are making comments, but you can't say anything. So it's really tough.
But now it's out there. It's all been heavy-handed campaigning, and a lot of people are backing you out there, Tasha, at the moment. Have you liked all the sort of the attention that the fans are giving you, or you've been impressed with sort of all the people getting behind you at the moment?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm like so, just grateful for the fan support. Whenever someone hits me up on Twitter or Facebook, I make sure I hit them back. And if they give me a personal comment, I'll reply right back. And it's been a lot of fun just connecting with the fans, and I feel so much love. And it's definitely a reason for me to fight even harder if I make it onto the show.
Now, I believe you were a pretty big Survivor fan yourself going into your first season. So, I mean,
yes.
For yourself now to get this opportunity to come back and against some of these players who no doubt you've watched over the years and been a fan of yourself, it must be weird having to compete against them now.
It is so weird. And, you have, like, Kelly Wigglesworth, like, yes. For real. The first season, anybody from the first season, you're just kind of in awe of, because they didn't have a roadmap. There was no precedent set when they played. They just did what they thought was best. So to possibly play with, like, a Kelly Wigglesworth, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, we're all on the Kelly Wigglesworth train, can I just point out, because love her to bits, and I think it was I think it might have even been in your season, wasn't it, when you were winning all the immunities, and Jeff mentioned her name at some point. It's like, wow.
I know he did. He totally jinxed me, though, because he's like, Tosh, if she wins this immunity challenge, she will tie Kelly Wigglesworth. I'm like, crap, Jeff. You just jinxed me, but yeah, it was awesome.
And then the 3 seasons later, you might be competing out there to try and, do it again.
I know, and I feel like the fans have a lot of expectations. I could possibly have Kelly out there, Challenge Beast. I could have Joe from, Worlds Apart, Challenge Beast. It's going to be tough.
Are you looking at the cast, and we're obviously not expecting you to name names, of course, Tasha, but I mean, are you looking at sort of people that you could potentially work with, some that you might want to avoid and all that on this list?
You know what? I definitely am evaluating everyone. You obviously don't know who will be the final people selected. But yeah, so I'm looking at everyone and trying to figure out how would this person fit in my strategy. But the thing is, though, once you get out there, like, nothing should be really set until you actually get out there and start talking to people and seeing who you connect with. So I don't want to necessarily eliminate this person because of this is what they did the first time they played. Everybody is fair game. Everybody at this point in my book has an opportunity to join forces with Foxy Tasha, so I'm literally going to make a game day decision and see the dynamics, and I'll go from there.
And it's obviously very interesting that you've got not only 3 other people from your season, but 2 other people from your original Brains tribe as well, which I'm sure a lot of people are talking about out there at the moment.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of things. There's 2 schools of thought here. You got one side that's like, oh my gosh, I hope Luzon or the Brains reunite. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then you got the other side like, man, we want 3 or 4 people from the same season out there? I see both sides, but honestly, hopefully the fans will look at the individual players and don't assume that just because they played together that they will play together again. So it could actually create some different dynamics that makes the story a little more exciting.
And I bet you've got David, Garrett, and Jatia out there going, man, why aren't we on the list? We could have made it a Brains whitewash.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And from what I know, Jatia was originally on the list, and then she wasn't anymore. So yeah, it's kind of sucky, but it is what it is. And if all 3 of us make it, or 4 with Woo, then we'll see what happens. But the fans definitely should not assume that the Luzon will reunite.
Well, because we've seen that in so many of these returning player seasons where it's the assumptions, isn't it? Like straight away you're from the same season, so you're going to work together. But it's not often the case. I mean, you and Spencer kind of had something for a while there, but it wasn't necessarily as tight from day one. And Cass, we all know what happened with her. So it's kind of like, it wasn't like you guys were a solid 3 the entire time you were playing with each other.
Exactly. And that's how it needs to be looked at. And then, like I said, if we get out there and situations present themselves and I feel like I can trust him, Cass, or anybody else that's on the cast for that matter, then yeah, I'm going to keep all of my options open. And history, I'm just going to push that aside and really focus on what's going on right now in the game and who can I best leverage to get to the end.
Are there any key aspects of your game going in that you really kind of want to try and change up? Or as you were just mentioning there, when you're sort of going to leverage and see who's out there, does it kind of have to wait until you're out there before you can analyse what you're going to do differently?
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm a game day player. Just the first time I played, obviously I didn't have the luxury of knowing the other contestants. So I was really, really diligent about who I'm going to work with and really strategic about that. This time it's a little more challenging because you know who may possibly go, but what you don't know is, are they going to be the same person the second time? Are they going to try to switch it up? So I need to see what everyone's coming with, and then I will strategically align according to what they're showing me the second time.
Was that, on your first time around, we saw a key turning point was the Jatia vote out, of course, voting Jatia out over Spencer. Was that kind of at the time, a lot of that thought process going on? And what sort of was the point where you were decisive on taking out Jatia over Spencer?
Right. So really for me, the deciding factor, I'm weighing this all day, even all through tribal council, because you have Spencer, who is level-headed, strategic, and not very volatile. He's even keel, just like me. Then you have Jatia, who is loyal, who I like as a person, inside the game and outside of the game, but unpredictable. So it's like, do you take the safe route with this loyal person, but you may be tied to her? So, I'm thinking if we go into a switch or a merge and Jatia and I are linked together and she is volatile, then, I'm guilty by association. Even though she's loyal, that's great. But if they don't like her, because she's so, strong-minded or strong-willed, then I'm next to go. But then I'm like, you look at Spencer, who it takes a while to warm up to him, but once you do, you're good. And just because of his gameplay and his style, I felt like we would more likely work well together and that I could count on him to be more even-keeled. And he was, and it worked out.
Yeah, yeah, and it would have been fascinating to see Shatia go further in the game, because I think kind of like how much focus was put on Shatia early on, and sort of Cass was starting off a little bit slowly, and then obviously we saw what happened with Cass later on in the game. I mean, it would have been fascinating to see how Shatia and Cass could have kept going together, had that, you kept Shatia over Spencer.
I know, and like Jatia and Cass really got along as well, and so I mean, who knows? We definitely the game would have been different had we kept Jatia, but the question is, would it have been as good for Cass and I or not?
Well, I think it's definitely prepared you sort of working with those types of people. I mean, you've got some other big characters out there, people like Shane, I'm thinking of, Mike, who's sort of a mile a minute, You must be going into this thinking, if you're playing with this, well, I dealt with Cass and Jatia, I'm fine.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, I get along pretty well with number of personalities, and that's just one of my gifts. I do it in real life. It doesn't matter who it is. I'll find a way or find some type of connection to kind of get that inroad. So I'm not worried about the big personalities, because I know that I'm somewhat of a chameleon, and I'll make it work. For the purpose of this game, I can make anything work.
With the game, I mean, we've sort of discussed a lot with all the candidates that it's all happening now, really. I mean, the game is afoot, as the great Tarzan, of course, once said. And it's happening on social media. People are trying to do things. And it's not just the candidates. I mean, fans, former contestants, they're really trying to stir the pot a little bit. How do you try and keep your head out of that sort of stuff and try to ignore it and really focus on your campaign and what you're trying to achieve out there?
Oh, yeah. You know what? And that is critical, because there's been some mudslinging going on a little bit. But you got to remember that it's likely that you could be playing with some of these people. If they have an issue with you before you even go into the game, like, you're screwed. Survivor is so cutthroat. And if anyone has any slight reason to vote you off, they might be coming for you. Whether it's a valid reason or not, whether they're mad from a prior season or if they're mad from something you said about them on Twitter or Facebook, you don't want to give anyone a reason not to want to work with you. So I'm trying to stay away from it, trying to keep it positive, and just worry about myself.
How have you sort of targeted the campaign? Is there anything sort of specific that you're doing, going more so on Twitter, Facebook, doing sort of local interviews? I mean, sort of what's your target really on how you're trying to get the votes?
Yeah, I'm really trying to stay connected with my fans on Twitter and Facebook, doing podcast interviews, just really touching every possible fan that I can. Like I said, if you hit me up and you comment for me, I'll comment for you right back. So just making sure that people see that I am like invested in this, that I'm excited about it, that I'm pumped about it. Hell, I'm up at 6:30 a.m. talking to you. Like that's how excited I am to possibly play this game. So I feel like if the fans see that you're passionate about it, then they know you're going to bring that passion into the game.
Well, what's really interesting now is that I can say that this time next week you might be out there right now or on a plane. Who knows? Like, I mean, it's literally less than a week now. How does that make you're getting nervous, but more so by the day, I bet.
Right, but the thing about it is you're excited. You're preparing, but again, it's like something in you that says you might be coming back home. So you don't want to get too excited, because you don't want to be let down. But I don't know. It's so scary. I'm so nervous, because they've done this before. And the first time you're stumbling through it, the second time you're like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And so if you're feeling like that, chances are your competitors are too. So it's going to be a really fast game. And those who can keep up will do well. Those who get left behind will be either somewhere partying it up or on the jury. You know what I'm saying? So It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's such a fascinating time, I feel, for Survivor fans because, you know, I mean,
Yes.
this has never happened before. There's never been this campaigning. We've never so openly known who could possibly be on the next season. And we will know in a week who
Yes.
will be on the next cast. And we'll be sitting here twiddling our thumbs going, oh, I wonder what Tasha's out there doing right now with Shane Powers and Kelly Wigglesworth. Like, how is she playing right now? It's going to be so fun.
I know, isn't it? Even if I wasn't one of the potential castaways, like I would be loving it right now as a fan, you know, and like you said, 4 weeks from now, I'll be like, oh, is my favorite still in the game? Or, you know, I wonder what's like the anticipation of the airing of the season is going to be ridiculous.
Makes it easier for podcast hosts to be able to do lots of episodes in, you know, the gap between the seasons.
Exactly. And then, and what about from the podcaster side, the fact that you have access to these people before they play, whereas normally you got to wait for the cast reveal and then you're reaching out. But, dude, you guys... You're on the front end now.
It's strange. It's so strange because, like, I mean, I sort of gave an example the other day. Like, back before Philippines aired, it was widely known that it was Penner, Scoopin, and Russ Swan returning. So we had Jonathan Penner on the show, and we were kind of hinting at him, like, oh, so there's this rumour, Jonathan, and he, like, completely, you know, stepped around it. Great political answer.
Right.
But now it's like, you don't have to hide it, Tasha. You can sit here and, you know, I'm going to be on the next season if you vote for me. Like, it's just strange being able to be so open about it.
I know. I totally agree. But I love it.
It's fun. I think they should do this more often because, you know, it's great. And again, as I said, lots of episodes for us, lots of speculations, and you know, we can chat. And I actually, too, in terms of like the fans and people out there who are campaigning, you've got a couple of big names behind you, sort of rooting for a return. You've got Dalton Ross, of course, from Entertainment Weekly, who's put you on his ballot. But the one I'm looking at here, Tasha, Perez Hilton, he's behind you. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
Perez Hilton actually put an article out about a week or so ago talking this up, and he's put his list of people, and you're on his list of people he wants to see return.
Shut up.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to have to hit Perez up. That's my boy.
I will send you the link, but he's also got
will you please?
Spencer and Cass too are also on his list, so he must be a bit of a Cagayan fan. I'm just saying,
he's a Luzon lover.
I'm just saying if Wu made it. Wu made his list too, so there you go. Look, he loves everyone from your season. Damn.
Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I didn't even know he was a Survivor fan. When I saw this article, I was like, yeah, go Perez, go you.
Right. That is crazy. Yeah, if you would send me the link, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll send it to you, but for people, we put it up on our Twitter, I think, a day or so, but we'll tweet it out there for people to see it as well, because I think it was actually, I saw Stephanie put it up on hers, and so we saw it there with her, with his. Although I will say, he didn't put, he did put Kelly Wigglesworth on there. Yeah, he did. I was about to say.
Okay.
That's the one that, you know, like, yeah, I'm not taking away from your campaign, Tasha, but, you know, Kelly Wigglesworth, come on now. She's...
Yeah, like, it's Kelly Wigglesworth. Like, I get it.
Yes.
She gets a pass.
Yes, exactly. How many times did you actually apply to be on Survivor before you got on Cagayan?
Yeah, I applied 3 times.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How close did you get on any of the other seasons?
The farthest I got was right before finals. So I got cut right before finals, and it was the season where Philip Shepard made his first appearance.
Redemption Island. Wow.
Redemption Island.
You dodged a bullet there, I feel.
I think so, too. And, you know, everything works out in its own perfect timing, and I'm so glad that when I got on, it was the first all new player season in a long time. Yeah. So it worked out, and that cast was so fun, and there were so many ups and downs and just blind sides, and it was a perfect season for me. I loved it, even though I didn't have the most favorable start to the game, and it wasn't my ideal Survivor experience as I imagined it, it was still perfect for me.
Well,
loved it.
It's such a universally loved season, and I mean we have our annual awards each year called the Oscars, and last year voted the best season of all time.
Yes, thank you so much. I saw that.
Yeah.
I think I was voting myself.
Good. I'm glad. I expect you to. We've got them coming up again, actually, and you won't be able to vote sadly because you'll be out there playing Survivor. But
yeah.
We'll give you a pass.
I know, but like the crazy thing is when you play, it's like you press pause on life, just life in general, and then when you come back and you press unpause, it's like you have to rewind all of the things that happened while you were gone. And like 2 months is a long time. And you come back and you find out this star overdosed. You find out this star had a baby. It's crazy. Like, just when you're gone, you are literally away and desolate.
Well, that's the thing that I always think about, because I mean, like, as I'm a huge sports fan, and so like I'd be all the time going, is my team winning? Like, what's happened and things like this, and I'm always checking the news. I'm always doing this. So after a couple of days, I don't know how I'd be coping with that.
It is, and like right now, I'm imagining I won't know who won the NBA Finals.
Ah, yes.
And then also Game of Thrones, which is like my favorite show. I'm gonna miss the last few episodes of that. I'm just like, man, I'm gonna miss a lot.
Yes, no, it's crazy to think that. You brought up the NBA Finals. Who are you rooting for, Tasha? I need to ask you quickly.
I'm gonna say.
You want to be careful with this answer, do you? Because you don't want to lose the vote.
I know exactly. I'm just gonna say I'm rooting for the best team.
Okay.
Because people will get upset when you don't say their team.
Who do you go for? Who is your team?
Well, I'm a LeBron fan.
Okay. You're allowed to be. I'm actually literally sitting here in a Chicago Bulls sweatshirt. So.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, I have two. I cheat. I have two teams, so I go for Chicago and Toronto. So Toronto got swept, and now Chicago look like they're about to lose. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Unfortunately, I like Chicago too. I like Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
He's a cute.
How can you not like Derrick Rose? Come on.
I know.
Anyway, we'll talk about. We'll get you back on. We'll do a special NBA playoffs episode or something like that.
Okay, great.
I'll catch
tell
up.
me about catch me up on everything.
You get back day one, players. Now we'll get some listed questions and also have our final five shortly. But just a couple ones here I want to touch on as well. Always like to ask people from your season about the flip, the Cass flip.
Yes.
I mean, was that an overreaction that you were siding with Sarah during that argument? I mean, take us through all that, how that all went about.
Yes, completely. Like, honestly, I hear Cass in her interviews, and she talks about how nobody talked to her for 6 days. That means that even in challenges, we would not have talked to her, so that doesn't make sense, but okay. But she was golden. Spencer was golden. I felt like when we, in the switch, ended up on the same tribe, I'm like, this is great. Here we are. We are basically decimating the beauties. We're sticking together. And so when we merged, I thought everyone thought they were good. So when we were courting Sarah, we were courting her because she was the one who was most likely to flip back over to the Braun. She came from the Braun. So, in my opinion, everyone's energies should have been focused on the main person who was likely to flip. Cass's position was solid. My position was solid. Spencer's position was solid. We were basically in control. And we could have, in my opinion, remained in control likely through the end of the game. But when people are paranoid and tensions are high or whatever, I guess you're gonna just think what you want to think. But honestly, I felt like Cass got jealous that so much attention was given to Sarah, which it was, but you have to be level-headed enough to say, what is the end result? What's the purpose? Why is she getting all the attention? Oh, I get it. Because we want her and we need her, at least for a couple of votes. And like I told Cass, I know you and Sarah don't get along. So once we secure our position, you want to take her out? Take her out. Like, and so Cass basically went from top of one alliance to the bottom of another. And yes, she did make it to the close to the end, but it was only because people knew no one would vote for her. So again, I think her fate could have been much different. She likely could have won had she stuck with Spencer and myself, because she could have made some moves later instead of pissing off the majority of the jury. You just pissed off 5 of the 9 jurors. Like, that math just doesn't add up. So I don't know what her rationale was, even if you felt like you were at the bottom. But yeah, but I just think, in Survivor, you have to be level-headed and really think strategically about the decisions that you make. Mm-hmm. And at that point, if you're thinking about flipping in the game, which is totally fine, flip when the number of people that you're flipping on will make up the minority of the jury, not the majority. So that just makes sense.
Very true. It's always interesting to talk about that one moment. Now, I'm going to get to these listener questions, and I'll get to our final 5. But before I do, I've been giving everybody a chance here, Tasha, to sort of stand on your soapbox and appeal to the voters why they should vote for you. So I'll do that now, so then we can get to these questions, so I don't forget to do this. So take as long as you like here, just to really speak to the listeners, speak to the fans out there as to why, when they vote for people to return, they need to include you on their ballot.
All right. Hello, fans, Survivor Oz fans. I would love for you to vote for me on Survivor. My season, obviously, I started out on the Luzon tribe, and not saying that I would give that back. I wouldn't. I thought it was a perfect beginning to the game because it forced me to really be strategic from the beginning, because I felt like, man, we may not ever win a challenge, so I need to survive Luzon. And so if you watched my season, not once was I targeted to be voted off, and that was because of my strategic play, my social ability, and just my physical ability, in the challenges. And I will say this too, if the fans put me back on the island under different circumstances, more favorable circumstances, I think they will get to see like how crazy I am, like how much fun I am, instead of the constantly on the grind, Tasha. In the situation I was in, I was constantly on defense. If I'm on offense, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to just let loose and, just have some fun, make some moves, just do things just to do them, to see what's going to happen. I might stir the pot a little bit. So I want the fans to be able to see the other side of Tasha.
Beautiful. You're going to get all LeBron James out there, let's be honest.
Yes. Not 1, not 2, not 3.
On the buzzer, win, down. Simple.
Yes.
You should tie that into a reference out there, like, pre-game interview, when you're doing all those questions, like, just say you're going to LeBron James it or something like that.
Yes, that's a great idea. I will do that.
Good, and I'll read that and I'll go, hey, she took my idea. There you go.
I did.
Now, we got some listener questions in. Thank you to everybody who sent these in, and I'll get to our final 5. Now, ones I'll just go through here. Willie LaShawn asks, were you angered or upset about the hashtag stood up moment with LJ?
Oh, okay. So I'll answer that in 2 parts. So the first part, I thought the hashtag stood up was hilarious. Like, I literally died. So I thought that was hilarious. But in the game, yeah, I was pissed. And let me tell you, of course, I didn't get to go on the reward with Tony, Jeremiah, and Spencer. So Spencer and Jeremiah had already known, they were already privy to the knowledge that Tony wanted LJ gone. I didn't know that. So when you talk about my strategic ability and my discernment of what's going on in the game, when I approached LJ, I had no idea that that's what Tony felt like. So my survivor instinct said, hey, talk to LJ. He might be the next to go. So, and I tried to offer LJ what I felt like was a very good option for him, and an option that may have taken him to the end, but he didn't even realize it. He was so focused on not pissing Tony off that he couldn't even see that he was like on the chopping block. So yeah, I was pissed at the time, but once I found out LJ was going to be going home next, I'm like, see, told you, sucker.
Oh, love it. And you got a hashtag out of it too, so.
Yes. For anybody that is planning to play Survivor and you get into the game, always listen to options, because you never know, what opportunities you might have.
Good advice. I like it.
Yes.
I'll remember that. Should I ever be an American and get to play? They might bring an Australian version back. Our version was terrible, so I'll do that one day.
Oh, was
Yeah,
it?
it's on YouTube if you ever get completely bored and want to watch it, but I would not recommend that. So
Okay.
Yes. Now, this next question, I'm sure you've gotten this question a lot. Zachary Chong asks the question, why did you vote for Wu to win?
Right. Well, the answer to that question is two parts. The first part, which obviously the fans didn't get to see, there was a day where Tony, was really paranoid about the all-girl alliance that I was trying to form, and he was pissed. And so, kind of like Will went in on Shireen, Tony tried to go in on me like that. And I didn't back down. He basically said that there was no way the girls could survive without the guys, that having an all-girl alliance, the girls would basically die because we wouldn't be able to cook rice, we wouldn't be able to start a fire, and just all of this male chauvinistic stuff. And I'm like, basically came right back at him, like, I'm not afraid of you, Tony. Like everyone else walking around here, like they're afraid to say something, afraid to strategize. Well, I'm not. So I didn't back down. And so I just felt like his sexist comment was one reason enough for me not to vote for him, because it's a social game too. So in my opinion, he didn't play the social game as well as he could in terms of his interaction with me. Secondly, I think Wu could have won had he crafted a better closing argument. You have a 9-person jury. 5 of those people on the jury were flipped on by Cass. I don't think Wu should have approached his closing argument and directed it towards Tony and his relationship with Tony. I think he should have focused on the real reason, like most of the people were pissed, and it was because of Cass. So if Wu would have crafted an argument saying, okay, I know 5 of you are sitting over there because of Cass, but guess what? I put Cass over there. And so if he would have kind of just switched it up a little bit and really like tugged at the heartstrings of the people who were really pissed at Cass, people weren't really pissed at Tony, they were pissed at Cass, then I thought maybe they would have voted for him. So, but me, being the strategic person that I am, I just formulated that argument on behalf of Wu in my own mind and just gave him the vote.
That's perfect. That is the best way I've heard that described. I love that.
Yes. Think about, and when you're doing closing arguments, think about who your audience is. That's the number one rule when it comes to literature. Know your audience. Or when it comes to speaking, know your audience. So if Wu knew his audience, he would have redirected his entire argument and focused on the emotions of the people that were sitting on that jury.
Wow.
And those emotions were like, we're pissed at Cass.
That's great.
Thanks, Wu, for not giving her that satisfaction. You get my vote. So that's why I vote.
Wow. I tell you what, you've taught me a lesson there now. Now I'll try and get to know my audience, Tasha, and maybe we'll get more people listening. So there you go.
There you go.
You're helping us out.
Hey, it's a strategy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Everybody's listening to Survivor.
Hey, I'm going to use that. That's a promo right there. Thanks, Zachary. I'm just looking here at the other questions. You're not going to answer these ones here. Matthew Goldberg says, who out of the cast on Second Chance do you most want to form an alliance with?
Yeah, I'm going to keep that close to the chest.
Yep. And Giovanni or Elena says, who would make you go crazy living on the island, Abby, Maria, or Stephanie?
I'm staying away from that.
Yep.
Actually, I met Abby. She was at our finale and, the hotel hanging out. And I loved her. She was really, really cool. Really, really sweet.
Fantastic.
Sweet girl.
Fantastic. Hello, Abby. If she's, I feel like we should say hello to everybody because I know a lot of you guys are listening to all these podcasts to get a vibe on how other people are doing and what you're saying. So, hello, Abby. Hello, anybody listening.
Yeah, hello, anybody that's going to be playing season 31.
Yes. Yes.
Love y'all.
Now, thanks everybody who sent the questions in. Now, Tasha, we wrap up every interview with a series of 5 questions, just thoughts on things to do with Survivor and opinions. And as I keep saying, if you answer these correctly, you will be on season 31.
Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure.
All right, question number 1. What are 3 things you learnt about Jeff Probst during your time on Survivor?
Well, number 1, Jeff Probst is hot. I always thought he looked nice, like on TV, but in person, he's hot.
Okay.
Number 2, during challenges, Jeff can be annoying because you're trying to focus on whatever the challenge is, and Jeff's commentary is somewhat distracting. And then number 3, I would say what I learned about Jeff Probst is that he is vested in the game. You know, he has his finger on the pulse of everything, and he's really, really, really good at what he does. And that's what makes the show, not just the contestants, but Jeff is a big part of why Survivor is so awesome.
I had to laugh at this week's episode, the Worlds Apart episode, when he's talking about the phrase in the puzzle, and he was saying that this is, I've got 200 things I say in Survivor. I'm getting therapy for it.
He does say the same things over and over.
Yes. Oh, it was hilarious.
What's playing for?
Yes, all the fixins. I love how they actually use it to a puzzle.
All the fixins.
Oh,
yeah.
Brilliant. Please make fun of him for saying all the fixins when you go back out there in a couple of weeks.
Okay, I will.
Good. Question number 2. What is your favourite and least favourite season of Survivor?
My favorite season, I would have to say I really liked Heroes versus Villains / China. And my least favorite would be One World.
Okay. Any particular reason? Or?
I think maybe because there was really no intrigue. No, I felt like I knew who was going to win One World.
Okay.
It was pretty clear early on, and maybe that was just me.
Hi to Sabrina and Troyzan if they're out there on the island with you in a week or so there, Tasha.
Yeah. Hello, did I say One World? I didn't mean One World.
You said Guatemala because there's nobody from that season.
Yes, that is what I meant. Guatemala.
Yes, I heard Guatemala. Yep.
Even though it may not have been my favorite season, I still liked, some of the characters. Good. I'll say
Particularly Troyzan and Sabrina. How good were they?
Absolutely. How did you know?
I can read minds. We're connected here, Tasha. I can think. Question number 3. Who to you is the sexiest ever contestant?
Oh my gosh. Do I just have to pick one?
No, please. Pick all the 16 males that are about to return. You get on their good books.
Okay, well, there is one that will likely return that I will throw out there. Joe. Mm-hmm. He's so cute. Love him. Love the hair. And then, of course, I've always loved Ozzy. From his first season, I had a crush on Ozzy. And then Malcolm. Mm-hmm. Those are my the trifecta of hotness.
Trifecta of hotness. I like that. That's a good way of describing it.
How was that? Are those good guys?
Yeah. No. Look. Yep. I don't particularly swing that way, but I'd go there. Why not? So.
Okay, great.
Yep, cool. All right. Question number 4. Who to you is the greatest player never to have won?
Oh, the greatest player never. Suri. I love Suri.
Yep. Big Suri fan.
Are you? Yep. Okay, yeah, I really loved her.
It's funny, the first time she played, I didn't like her, and on Micronesia, I remember going, oh, why is she back? I don't like her.
Yes!
But, you come around on Suri eventually.
Oh, absolutely. I think I felt the same way, and then I don't know what it was, but I'm like, I really like her. So
4th time around. Maybe one day. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe 4 times now. That is the producers have to really like you to bring you back 4 times. Like, that's a lot.
Your name's going to begin with an R. It's going to be either Rob or Russell. Not Russell, sorry, Rupert. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Rupert, yes. I mean, no, but that would be awesome if I could ever be so lucky to play 4 times.
Hey, well, look, you know, you might win it on your 4th. You might win 3 times in a row, the next 3 times, Tasha. So,
yeah, if I win twice, yeah, I'll be the first person voted out. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, question number 5. Who is your least favorite winner?
My least favorite winner?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I mean, it's, like that's a tough question because as a player, like, how hard it is to get to the end and then to win. Do I have to answer that? Because
I want to say yes, but I'm a nice guy, Tasha, so you can plead the 5th.
Okay, yeah, because you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was a winner, then I feel like I can say. Like, but since I couldn't do it myself, I wouldn't. Shoot.
We used to actually ask the question, who is the most undeserving winner, but we changed the wording of that because we were getting a lot less people actually answering that question for obvious reasons.
You know what? I'll just answer it because I think that's an easy one. How about Tony, since I didn't vote for him?
There you
Let's
go.
say that.
That's easy to say. That works.
Yes, so clearly I did not want him to win. So there you go. That's my least favorite winner right there.
Hi, Tony, if you're listening. He's actually, since it's all finished, he's kind of gone into a bit of hiding almost. Like, I know he did the Mr. Survivor interview, but he's sort of taking a break from it all. So
spending his millions.
Yeah. doesn't need to do anything else with Survivor. Yeah, exactly. He's rich. So hi, Tony.
Right. Yes, he can pick and choose who he talks to.
Yes. The final question for you today, Tasha. In the history of Survivor, who to you is the greatest ever player and why?
I'm going to go with Sandra Diaz-Twine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to see her play, to win twice, and to do it differently. Like, she didn't do it just being nice and, or because she was a physical threat. She played what I feel like as herself, and her natural personality, her natural ability to wreak havoc nicely and get away with it. Like, I love it because usually that doesn't work for most people.
Yeah.
But it worked for her.
Indeed.
So
Twice.
And pretty much the same style. So anybody that can do that, man, I love her.
And there you go. And look, you win next season and they ever do an all-winners season, you could be out there playing with her.
Hey, I'll play with Sandra D.
Well, Tasha, I will say it's been a pleasure to get you on the show and have a chat with it. And best of luck. Look, in a week's time, again, not trying to make you nervous or anything, you could be out there. You could be on a plane getting ready to play for a second time. So we wish you all the best. Hope to see you on the season and look forward to getting you back here on the show afterwards to chat about your win on season 31.
Yes, to talk about how I'm a millionaire.
Yes. Fly out to Australia and speak to us in person. Easy.
I know, dude, I totally want to come to Australia. Like, seriously, like, that is, like, on my number 1 list of places to go, like, next year.
Do it. We will have you here with open arms. Apparently, I'm the spokesperson for the country to invite people, but whatever, I'll do it. So, yeah, you're welcome.
Seriously, like, when I come, I'm going to hit you up, and we have to meet up.
We will. We will go out, and we will just go and watch basketball and drink Australian beer and eat kangaroo. You can get a kangaroo burger.
Okay, sounds great.
I don't know if I'm turning you off Australia all of a sudden or making it more appetizing.
Hey, I'll do anything once, so I'm game.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Tasha Fox from Cagayan. Pleasure to have her on the show. First appearance here in Survivor Oz, and a great interview indeed. And remember to include her on your ballot, your vote. People have been asking me who I've been voting for. Well, I'm telling you now, I've been voting for Tasha each time I've been voting. So get out there and vote for her and get her back on season 31. The interviews are continuing, of course. We have plenty still to come. We've got a couple more that we've never had on the show before. Michaela, Stephen, and Stephanie, all never been on Survivor Oz, but we've got their chats coming up. And our chats with Kelly and Jim, as well as Andrew Savage, also still to come. And Cass, of course, is doing our episode recap this week for Worlds Apart, and we will talk to her about Second Chance there as well. Still plenty of time for any of the other contestants. We've reached out to everybody. We're trying to line up others before they go out there next week to the reunion. So again, I should put the open call out there to any of the players who haven't appeared on the show yet. The invitation is there. Feel free to shoot us an email, and we're happy here to help you campaign. SurvivorOz.com. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube. You know it. Get out there and like it. It's all the easy ways to get all these episodes and everything else direct to you. But in the meantime, my name is Ben, the Tribe Has Spoken. Thank you for listening to Survivor Oz. We will speak to you next time on The Trains.